Hello Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie. I'm hoping that I am straight up and down this time. I must not have configured my iPhone correctly last time, so we were crooked. So I would like to welcome you to Facebook Live today on Wednesday, which is Halloween. And today we're going to be using the stamp set, a brand new stamp set that's coming out. It's called Snow is Glistening. Hi Diana and Patricia. It's shocking that it's Halloween, or shocking that it's the last day of October. It's crazy to me because I always tell my family the last day of October you might as well start celebrating New Year's Day, because pretty soon it's going to be Thanksgiving, then it'll be Christmas, and the holidays will be over. And every year I try to embrace that and make things go slower, but it just goes very quickly. Oh, shocking that you made it to the live event. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad all of you are here. Again, today, if I got a little discombobbled because at the beginning of the feed, my view was in portrait instead of landscape, and I can't fix that once I get started. So I would like to welcome everyone that came today to watch the live viewing. If you have never viewed before, thank you for stopping by. We're going to be doing a brand new stamp set that is limited quantity, or limited time, I'm sorry, through Stampin' Up, and it doesn't start until tomorrow. And it is 2 stamp sets. It's a couple items actually. I'm going to take away the cards real quick here and just show you. 2 different stamp sets, Snow is Glistening and Happiness Surrounds, and I'm hoping that my light is not going to shine too much. This one is kind of an everyday. It's got Sending Positive Thoughts, Surround Yourself with Happiness, It's Your Day. This does coordinate with the framelits that also coordinate with this stamp set. So this is Snow is Glistening. It has some awesome sayings. Each snowflake is beautiful, sparkling, and special, just like you. And Merry Christmas to you, and peace on earth to all the world. I really love that saying. This is the framelit or thinlet set. It is absolutely gorgeous. I forgot to look to see exactly how many pieces, but you have this fun piece here. These here coordinate with this flower over here. You have this one that you could put this in the middle of. Lots of fun pieces. You have some little flower leaf pieces that would coordinate with this. So it is a really great set. There's also, and it's hard to see, I'm a senses person. This is some velvety paper, and it comes in a pack, a 2-pack, and it's going to be awesome for doing the snowflakes or other little pieces on your cards. So there's 2 packs or 2 pieces per pack. That also is one of the new items that will be limited quantity. It's available only while supplies last. The other item are some snowflake trinkets, and I just wanted to show you because there's a couple different ones in here. So there's this snowflake, and if you turn it over, there's already a rhinestone in there, but I'm going to show you another. I put a different rhinestone there. And then there's this one. Again, you can turn it over if you'd like. There also is a little eye there, so you can thread a piece of baker's twine through that. So these are great, and that is one of the new items as well. It is a photo polymer stamp set. The tree that comes in the stamp set has a little tree trunk here as well, and it has some little sparkly snowflakes and some other snowflakes that I am guessing are going to look really great embossed. So I'll be trying that out later in the week, but this is the stamp set. And there is not something that coordinates with the tree, but it's a triangle, so it's very easy to cut out. So I'm going to put those aside for just a moment, and then we can talk about the cards we're going to make today. We're going to make 3 cards, and I tried to give a little bit of variety. I did not use the tree today. I tried to just give a little variety with the snowflakes, And so for this one, I use some of the copper paper and some of the, I believe it's called Joyous Noel designer paper. And then this one, I just used some of the Balmy Blue, which I haven't shown any cards with that before. And then this is one of my favorites, Coastal Cabana. So if you're new to watching, every week, if you make a purchase of $30 or more through my online store, I will send you the make and take kit to create this. Now you will need your own stamp set. Per Stampin' Up! Policy, I cannot stamp images and send to you. So you could use a different stamp set. But if I send you the make and takes, I will cut out all of the snowflakes for you. You'll get the ribbon, you'll get the cardstock, the little embellishments. The only thing you won't get are anything that's stamped or the words. So if you go to my store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net, and if you use this hostess code, I will mail you these 3 make and take projects. I will do it towards the end of the week. I usually give everyone until Tuesday to make their purchase, and then I cut everything at once and mail them out at once. So let's get started, and if you just give me a minute, I'll pull my supplies together so that we can get started. We're going to make this one first, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these off to the side here. And for this one, I will show you on some of the other ones how easy it is to cut the snowflakes out, but I didn't do that for all of them, so I wanted to not make you have to watch that for every single one that I did. So I'm just going to grab some supplies here. What you're going to need is a piece of Sahara sand cardstock cut to 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You're going to need 2 pieces of designer paper cut, and I did use Joyous Noel, cut at 2 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use one of each side of that. I also cut the largest scallop circle using Sahara sand, and then I used the largest circle in the layering circle set in Whisper White. I have a piece of Mary Merlot cardstock at 3 inches by 1 1/4, and a piece of Whisper White cut at 3 inches by 1 inch. And then I did go ahead and use a couple of the snowflakes. I cut out one in copper paper. Hopefully you can see how beautiful that is. I cut a medium-sized one in the Mary Merlot and a really small one in copper. And I just need to grab the stamp and my ink, and we can get started making this card. I'm going to use Mary Merlot ink to do my greeting here. All right, now we want to stamp over just a little bit. So our paper will be a little bit longer, but we want to stamp over just a little so it will go to the edge. Originally I tried to cut part of this circle off and it kind of threw off the card, so I decided that I would leave the full circle and just move the wording over just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp very quickly, because I've shared with you anytime I use reds, I end up getting them all over myself or all over my project, and that is not fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my ink away. All right, let's start with our card base and our bone folder. And we're going to just use the bone folder to make sure we have a nice edge there. And then we're going to use some adhesive. I'm going to put adhesive on both of mine at once. You don't have to do that. You can do them one at a time if it's easier for you. And this is the piece that I had at the bottom. And you just want to make sure there's a nice border around the edge there. and make sure this one lines up with your other one. And then you're not going to see that at all because we're going to have this over the top and we're going to have these pieces. So the next thing we're going to do is put some adhesive on this piece of white and adhere it right to, I want to make sure this edge lines up here. And we want to leave a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 of an inch edge along there. So we're going to adhere this right here. And we'll just put this right here, lining it up right on the edge. And then we'll use a little more adhesive and put the white circle onto the scalloped circle. And then that we're going to just put straight down. I do love using dimensionals, but I'm not going to use them quite yet because I don't want too much layering here. So here I'm going to use a dimensional. And I'm going to try to be a little careful how I put this on so that it doesn't go over my words there. We'll just put that down. And then this one here, I'm just going to put on with a glue dot because you're not going to see it, what's behind it, after we get the centerpiece on. Now this center one, I wanted a little bit of pop from it. And I'm going to tell you that I cut a very, very little piece of a dimensional. I tried to even use the small dimensionals and they were even too big, so I just have this teeny little piece on there. And now I'm trying to get the teeny little back off of there. Looks like it's over just a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to put it right in the center there. And that just gives it a little teeny bit of pop. And I wanted just a little bit extra, so I decided to add a couple pearls up here in the corner. You can see on this one. So that's what I'm going to do next. I don't use pearls that often. I tend to use the rhinestones a little more, and I should use them because they just add a little extra and they're beautiful. And you can also color those in with the Stampin' Blends markers beautifully. And this card is done. I'll go ahead and put my supplies away over here, and then we'll set this one aside. And I think the next one that we will make, let's do this one. I really liked this one. When Coastal Cabana retired as a cardstock from our catalog, I was really sad, and so I was super, super happy to see it come back. And then it was kind of strange because I really didn't use it that much, and I'm not sure why, but I decided today that I would use it for this card. So what we need for this card is a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You're going to need a piece of white cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Another piece of white cut at 1 inch by 3.5. And then I have some small pieces here for the thin knit that we're going to cut out, and those are cut at 2 inches by 5 inches. But you can really just use any scrap that you have. So I'm going to set that over there. I think the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and get my Big Shot out, and I'm going to cut both of these pieces. And so here, this is the Thinlit die. It's beautiful. So I'm going to cut that out with the, I always try to cut my glimmer paper upside down. I don't know, I might have learned that somewhere once. Be sure though, if you're doing a word, you don't do it upside down because you'll get a backwards word. And I'm just going to run it through a couple times. I want it to come out very easily. So I do have a little bit of a shim in my Big Shot, just to make sure that it's going to pop right out. Okay, and there's that piece here. But now I need to run it through with the Coastal Cabana as well. Are you guys ready for the cold weather? I know a couple different people are from different places. Here in Michigan, it's a very beautiful day. Usually Halloween is super cold, usually raining, kind of a yucky day, but people still go trick-or-treating. I'm just going to turn this the other way just to make sure I get a good cut. Seems like when my kids were little, their costumes always had to be covered up, and I tried to make costumes that would keep them a little bit warmer, but it seems like you just kind of lose the effect unless they're the abominable snowman or something. So I'm going to use my piercing tool and my, I can't even remember what this is, the roller brush. If somebody knows, please help me out. I can't remember what, die cutting brush maybe is what it's called. I've had quite the week here at my house, I'll tell you, as I'm rolling out some of these pieces. So we moved back from Florida, and we are combining two houses because we had a house here in Michigan and we had a house in Florida that we were renting. And so when we got home, of course, we had two of everything. So we're getting rid of stuff. We gave stuff to people. We gave my son some stuff because he decided he was moving out. And then about 4 days ago, he texted me late one night and said, "Mom, are you still awake?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm wondering if I can move back home." So that was about 1 month after we had gotten home. And I was just getting to the point where I had put everything where I needed it to be. I took over his room, which I'm sure was a big mistake. And I had a computer in there and a desk, and I was going to make a meditation room. And the night before my son texted me, my husband hung up a few pictures, and I said, "This is a big mistake," because, well, he hung up like a bulletin board and a dry erase board, and I said, "This is a big mistake." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Because as soon as you hang up the pictures, he's going to want to come home." So fast forward to this past week. He didn't tell me he wanted to move home that day because he was having some trouble with his new roommates and things weren't going as he thought they might be, because he's 19 years old, and you know, everything's better when you can move out on your own, isn't it? And so now his stuff is in the middle of my living room. It's now in the middle of my office, which I had to move my stuff out of his bedroom so he could have that back. So it's been a little crazy, and I'm getting back used to it, but I did have to tell him some of his things needed to get out of my work area because I can't get to anything, and I'm trying to be patient, but I don't like clutter. So I'm going to take this piece of 1 inch by 3.5 inch white. I cut a little banner at the end. This is just a scrap piece of paper that I'm going to use, and I'm going to grab a few of the snowflake stamps. Diana says she likes the warm weather of North Carolina. Yes, I imagine. But I do know it snows there too, because my sister-in-law lives in North Carolina, and we went to visit her once, and church was canceled. I thought she was pulling my leg, but she wasn't. Church was really canceled because of snow. So I have the stamps that I need. This one I'm going to do Sending a Blizzard of Wishes for a Wonderful Season. and I'm going to stamp some snowflakes. The ink that I'm going to use is Pool Party and Coastal Cabana. I'm also going to use the Memento Black for my greeting, and I'm going to do that first so that I can stamp a few snowflakes. You guys, I have to pull this off camera because if I don't, I'm going to end up with a very crooked greeting. So there's that. And then I'm going to just stamp a couple snowflakes onto this piece here. I think I'll use my medium snowflake. I'm going to stamp off because I don't want it so dark that I can't see it. Oops. Okay, so this piece is done. So now what we need to do is take our piece of 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to just randomly stamp. I'm going to start with Coastal Cabana and the biggest snowflake. And I just like to do some of them on the paper, some of them kind of off, and that's why I'm using my scrap paper there. I'm going to wipe this off real quickly. And I'm going to get the medium size, and I'm going to use the Pool Party for that. Just a few little random snowflakes. Like I said, some of them on the paper, some of them kind of off the paper. Fill in the edges however it looks good to you. Alright, I'm going to leave that just in case I need. Now I have the very smallest one, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to stamp off with that one because I don't want it too dark. Okay, I think, well, I'm going to do one more up here. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and put my ink away. And I'm going to quickly wipe off my stamp so that I don't end up with the ink on anything. And I think we're ready to assemble. First thing we're going to do is fold our card base in half. Fold it with our bone folder. And mine is red because I accidentally I refilled my ink, and I like to use something smooth to kind of make sure that it goes all over the ink pad, and I used this, and I should have used a spoon, but I did not. So now it's stained red, nice pretty red. Alright, I'm just going to use a little adhesive and put this directly down, leaving a nice border all the way around. And I'm going to put this piece on with a few dimensionals. Make sure it's straight, I hope. I hope it looks straight on there. It looks straight to me. And I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow. I tell people this every time, but I just want to make sure that you know this is the Tombow multi-purpose adhesive, and the bottle comes empty. And the reason that I like this is because I like the adhesive, but this has a very small tip, and it just makes it a lot easier for adhering small pieces onto your cards. So I'm just going to lightly dab a little here and there. Now I could use the, you guys, I'm having a hard time remembering things today. The adhesive strips that come, I could run it through the Big Shot that way, which probably if I make more of these, I'm going to do that because I think that it would adhere it down a lot better and in all places instead of just kind of randomly. Oops. All right, we'll let that one dry while we put some glue on this one. And we do want to make sure it's kind of on the ends a little bit. And I'm doing a little bit on the snowflakes. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to quickly tell you, next week on Wednesday, I will be flying to Orlando. I know, don't tell me. I waited 3.5 years to get back to Michigan from Florida, and then Stampin' Up! Is having their 30-year anniversary, and it's in Orlando. So back to Florida I'm going. That will be on Wednesday, so I'm going to do Facebook Live on Tuesday, and I'll be doing some little sneak peeks from Orlando while I'm there. I'm going with a couple friends, and my mom is going. She's also a demonstrator. So this one's a little bit different. I kind of layered them up a little bit different. So you can lay them on there differently. We are also going to Disney's Very Merry Christmas Party, so I'm pretty excited about that. I did go one other time and had a really, really great time. So one of my friends has never been to Disney, and my mom has never been to the Very Merry Christmas Party, and I think her friend also has not been. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking really forward to it. So we now have our two little wispy snowflakes on there. They look like the wind carrying the snows to me. We're going to take our metallic edge ribbon, and this one is, oh my gosh, you guys, this is the story of my life this week. Okay, so I was going to take this metallic edge ribbon. Let me look in my cupboard real quick, but I don't think I have any more. I was going to take that, and I was going to tie it around the top. This is life. My aunt actually said to me, I like it when you make mistakes because this kind of stuff happens to me all the time, and it's nice to know it happened to you. So today, yes, I went to make a card on live, and I'm out of ribbon. This is the ribbon, and it looks really pretty. But we're going to use this white weave ribbon, and it's going to look just as pretty. We're going to put it around our card. I think it's because I'm so excited about Halloween. So I am one block from our elementary school. I'll talk and work at the same time so that I don't hold you up today. I'm one block from our elementary school that our kids went to. Just going to tie a knot here. And I was very involved when my kids were at the elementary school, and I always went up for the parades and helping out with kids that didn't have costumes and different things. And my daughter happened to come over this morning, and she said, "Did you see all the kids coming down the street?" I said, "No." So all of the kids from the elementary school were marching down the street, cute as can be, kindergarten through 3rd grade, in their Halloween costume. So I stood out front and waved to them all, and I was probably more excited to see them than they were to see me, but it was a great way to start my day. So I have the white ribbon. It looks perfectly fine. I'm going to take a piece of white baker's twine, and I'm just going to give myself enough to tie a little bit of a bow there. And then remember I said that the trinkets, one of them has a little eye there, so I'm going to, hopefully, because it worked last time, feed this baker's twine right through that eye. And then I'm going to tie a bow on here. And then I can trim it off just a little bit. How cute is that? So you can see the little gem shining through there. One is with silver, one is with white, and I think they both look really super cute, and I can't wait to send those out. So hopefully I got everything right for the next one. I'm just going to give you my host code while I grab supplies for the next one and get my stamps put back, because I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but photopolymer stamps are clear, and when they disappear, they're really hard to find. I once lost the little teeny rake from Sheltering Tree, and it made me really sad. But then the funny thing is, I found it and it was all in one piece. So it was awesome. All right, this one I'm going to use the saying, each snowflake is beautiful, sparkling, and special, just like you. And I'm going to use that with some Memento black ink. I'll take this away. And we're going to need to do a little bit of cutting, so on the Big Shot. But first I want to, so on this one here, I don't know if you can see, I did put a rhinestone and I colored it with the Night of Navy marker. I just wanted it to be blue to give a little more color. So I'm going to grab my marker. And these do dry pretty quickly, but I'm going to just color mine real quick here and give it a minute to dry while we do some of our cutting. So I'll set that aside, set my marker aside. We're going to cut this piece right here. And let me tell you what you need first before we get started. This time I did the card long ways. This is 11 inches by 4 1/4. We scored at 5 1/2. We need a piece of Whisper White cardstock cut at 4 by 5 1/4. We need a piece of Balmy Blue cut at 4 by 3 3/4. And this is the Sparkle Glimmer paper. We're also going to cut that at 3 3/4 by 4. And what we need to do on this one, we're going to use the reverse image of this. We're not going to use what we actually cut out. We'll save it and use it for another card, but this time we're just going to use what cut out. So we need to make sure when we put it through the Big Shot, I'm going to put these aside for just a minute, that we're kind of centering it up pretty well, and we want our paper going the 4-inch way. I'm going to grab the biggest snowflake, and I'm going to put mine with the point going up, and then we're going to just run that through our Big Shot real quickly. So if you had this stamp set or you bought this stamp set, what colors do you think that you would make your snowflakes? I've seen lots of different colors, but what would be one of your go-to colors for a card? I'm going to be making some more, so I'm taking suggestions right now which colors you might like to see some snowflake cards in. We're all done with this. We would want to run this through our little roller here. And some of the pieces you are going to have to poke out. This is not a piece I'm using now. I just want to show you how well the pieces come out of this. There's all the little pieces. Another tip I want to tell you, when I'm using silver or copper or gold or the glimmer paper, I'm going to save these so that I can make a shaker card with them. Ooh, purple and lavender would be really pretty for a snowflake. Like the gorgeous grape. All right, I'm not going to, well, here, I will pull this out so you can see. So there's a couple that just need to be knocked out, and I would use my piercing tool. So I'm going to save this. I'll use it again, but today I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use this. And so let me get the card back over here and all the pieces. Let's first fold our card base in half. And then I don't know if you can see right here, I used one of the stamps with some Balmy Blue ink, and I just made some little polka dots. So let me show you what that is. I don't know if you can see it. It's this. It's just a bunch of little polka dots, and I'm going to use the Balmy Blue. And I'm also going to use the black on this circle here, which I just realized I forgot to cut, so I'm going to have to cut that. grab my layering circles very quickly and get the right circle. That's it. I think I did cut it, but I'm not exactly sure where it disappeared to. So that's okay. I'll find it later and use it for something else. All right, here's the piece. I need to grab a piece of scrap paper. And we're going to use, like I said, the Memento Black for our words. Just going to ink that up very well. And I don't know if I've told you this before, but I'll tell you again. When I use the photopolymer, I tend to hold them down a little bit just to make sure that the ink transfers from the stamp to the paper. I don't know if that's a for real thing, but it has worked for me, so that's what I do. I'm going to use the large snowflake, and I'm just going to use the balmy blue and stamp a couple snowflakes. And then while I still have the balmy blue out, I'm going to take my 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to stamp, I should turn it this way so you can see, on the long edge. I'm just going to stamp random little polka dots. And the good thing about this, it doesn't even leave a line in between, so you can't see it all where the stamp stops and starts. And the snowflake is going to cover it up, so you're not really going to see it. This just kind of filled in the spaces a little bit, so that's what I'm left with. I don't need anything here because the other paper is going to be covering that up. Carol, look on the floor. Yes, my sometimes things are on the floor, and oh, it's kind of tricky because I have carpet, and sometimes I have to walk away when I can't find things, and then I come back and I'm like, there it is. It's one time actually my cat had a stamp playing at the door. I was devastated because my cats do like to chew up those photopolymer type things, so I was thankful that he was just playing with it, not chewing it. And darn it, I forgot. I wanted to, before I did that, tie a piece of ribbon around this, so I'm going to do it before I glue it down. All right. Ideally, you would do that before you put glue on it. So now I'm going to adhere this down onto my card base. And then I'm going to just tie a little knot. One thing with this tulle ribbon, you have to not pull it too tight or you'll stretch it out. It'll get real thin. Okay. And we just want to cut the edges off so they're very beautiful. And now what we're going to do with this piece is we're going to adhere the glimmer paper to the back. And I used dimensionals. And I'm going to use kind of a lot of them. I just want to make sure that it's not going to, the card isn't going to kind of fall in those places. And I think I'm going to just cut one in half and put a half piece over here and a half piece over here. And I'm going to be using those again. So the other thing is, you don't really have to take every single backing off of the dimensionals. I usually do, but you don't have to, just as long as you have the main corners done, and the other ones just kind of are a holding place for it, you know, so that it doesn't smush down. Because if the other 4 corners are holding it in place, it won't go anywhere. So I'm just going to adhere that right over the sparkle glimmer piece. And then I'm going to just put adhesive on the back of this because I've already popped that other piece up. And I'm going to put this up towards the top. I want a little bit to show at the top and on the sides, and I still want my ribbon to show at the bottom, so there's that. And now I have this piece that is already stamped, so I am going to take a couple dimensionals and put on there. Right in the middle. So you see the snowflake outline, but you don't see all of the snowflake, and I really like that. And now, like I said, I can make a snowflake card with that other blue snowflake. So I'm just going to use a couple. I've cut out a few of the really small. Maybe I should put them up here so you can see them. Of the snowflakes, and I use the glimmer paper. And so I'm just going to use a glue dot. And put a couple of them on here. And then I'll put one up at the top. And then we're going to go back and grab one of the, I'm going to use the different snowflake this time, the other one. So this one, again, has a little white rhinestone in the middle. I wanted to make it blue. So I'm going to grab my piercing tool. Grab that. And I'm going to just, I'm doing it on the other side so I can get a flat surface. The other one is a little bumpy, so I wanted to make sure that it's flat. And then I'm just going to put that on with a glue dot. And there you are. I'll move my stuff around. I will have this up on my blog. It's up now, but the video is not there. So if you give me just a little bit of time to upload the video and get it over on my blog, you can always come back and watch the video if you need the dimensions, but I do put all of the written dimensions over there so that you have them. Again, if you make a purchase through my online store of $30 or more, I will mail out the make and take kit for these 3 projects for you. And my online store can be accessed through stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net. And again, for anybody who joined me late, I will be in Orlando next week from Wednesday until I fly back on Sunday. And so Facebook Live will be on Tuesday next week. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I appreciate everyone who has shared the video. If you haven't shared it, if you would share, I would greatly appreciate that. Just gets my business out there and my cards out to other people, so I would appreciate that. And I will look forward to seeing you next week, and watch the blog and my Facebook group. I'll be creating some more cards with this kit this week, probably in purple and lavender, gorgeous grape, and Highland heather. If you have any other suggestions for colors, leave them in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much, and have a happy Halloween and be safe.